Hey, you're joining us for the next segment with Dr. J. Dunn on Ultra Life Today. And I'm sitting here with CEO and founder of Ultra Botanica, lead inventor, boom, my friend. Who are you now?
I'm Adam Payne.
Adam Payne.
You haven't figured that one out yet.
You know, sometimes I forget. We so rarely see each other, right?
Right.
Anyway, and we've got Dr. J. Dunn here. Interesting background. Go back in our archives, go to YouTube and type in Ultracur, ULTRACUR, and the initial J, period, Dunn, and listen to the first interview of this fascinating lady. She went through an incredible health journey, and finally found out what was wrong with her, and it set her on a course. Now, she's a doctor of chiropractic, but it set her on a course of trying to figure out what are these magic missing components where a nutrient or a supplement works for one person, but then it doesn't work for the next person, and it doesn't work for the next person. Isn't that crazy, Adam?
You know, what you've done, Dr. Dunn, is taken the genome and made it into something personable and something actionable, and which is why I've been so excited about the work that you've been doing, because it gives practitioners a view on the biology, the specific biology of the human, that has been a black box for most physicians for decades,
yeah,
ever since you know, the ancient times, when they would let's try this treatment or let's try that treatment because we know it's only going to work in a certain percentage of people. But now we're taking a little bit of the guesswork out by understanding these genomic differences, and that allows us to actually dial things in a lot quicker.
So the last time, and by the way, sure, great to see you, Dr. Dunn. Once
Good to
again.
See you too, Josh.
Anyway, so and you know it's interesting. I want to ask you a quick question, Dr. Dunn, before we get in. And by the way, this is our second part of what Adam affectionately refers to as the big reveal. Adam was so kind to go ahead and submit his DNA, and then let Dr. Dunn walk us through this really, really cool. I have to say, it's called myhappygenes.com. You can learn about it there. But she created this unique algorithm. But I have to ask you a question, Dr. Dunn. I have a friend, Adam and I have a friend, Kyle Drew. He used to be the co-host of the largest cable health show in the United States. It was called Know the Cause, and a lot of people have heard of it. And yet he said something to me. He has sold a number of genetic tests. And I was talking to him a while back, and he said, Josh, as far as I'm concerned, genetic testing is not even old enough to buy a beer yet. And would you say that, but he did. And I loved that. I said, can I borrow that? But at the same time, even if you're not quite old enough to buy a beer in genetics, if that's true, we really are still able to learn an incredible amount, aren't we? With just where we're at right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think both things are true. Yeah.
So
for sure. There's a lot we don't know about genetics, but there are some things, and you said it, Adam, actionable is the key. What can we use, what we do know now, which is a small amount, but still it's very potent and very actionable. And so, yeah.
So where did we leave off last time? One of the things that we left off with was I have this 100% dyslexia gene, right? Which my wife looked at me and said, that can't be true, because she thinks she's the dyslexic one. But it really has to do with
she's trying to one-up you, right?
Yeah. That has to do with how you process information, right? For example,
yes,
these guys lovingly rib me every single radio show that I do with Kyle and him about my complete ignorance of musicians,
music trivia.
I'm completely, yeah. I don't put together lyrics with artists, with songs. I don't understand the when people are singing songs. I don't recognize the lyrics. So I'm thinking that's where my dyslexia is kind of presenting itself, is in this jumble of misinterpretation or not being able to create meaning out of certain things that are being thrown at me.
Yeah, and then he reads a medical report, Dr. Dunn, and it's like it's imprinted on his mind, and he can walk off and have a conversation with a brain surgeon. It's crazy.
Amazing. Yeah, I know your IQ is like way up there. So it has, the dyslexia has nothing to do with your intelligence.
Yeah. It's just the way you process information, right?
Yeah.
It just comes in different ways. And I process. I can connect varieties of disciplines across multiple fields together and draw comparisons in ways that people that are experts in their fields don't see. So it's very quick for me to do those kinds of interesting connections. So
and maybe the dyslexia kind of gives you superpowers in other areas. It's like we look at Richard Branson, and he is dyslexic. He talks about that a lot. But
interesting.
The man is quite brilliant.
Very brilliant. So where do you want to go?
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things that I want to say, because you brought up some key points. One is, you talked about the genetics and how we have had a black box for many, many years. We didn't know how to deal with it. We didn't know how to get there, but we now can get in there, and we have, because a lot of people say, I just don't want to get my genes tested, and especially the gene report that we're going to look at right now, because they're afraid. They're like, I don't want to know if I have a risk for Alzheimer's or autoimmune or whatever, cardiovascular. But the point is that you made is that it's a good thing to know, because you want to know your risks so that you can do something about it to prevent those. And
it could be like a cell receptor that's that doesn't have cofactors available to it. So that would lead me to saying, well, let's supplement the cofactors in order to overcome this defect, right? Just like what you did.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, when I look at my risks, I talked about my father having lung cancer, and that's in my genes. And I know how to work with the gene that really kind of we suspect was responsible for initiating cancer with him, along with smoking. But I'm sure motivated to take my supplements because, I just don't want to go there. And it's a cheap insurance policy, really, when you look at it that way. And when I talk to patients about it that way, they're like, oh, this makes sense. So, totally. And the other piece, I don't want to take up all the time here, but it's interesting. You can see, do you know what Ayurvedic medicine is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We actually include some Ayurvedic compounds in in some of the products we make.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So, the 3 doshas, right? The Vata, Pitta, Kapha, those are definitely really correlated with genetic variants. And so we've kind of been talking about them in the COMT, VDR, and the MAO genes. And when we look at them that way, you can actually see the Vata, Pitta, Kaphas there.
So they've intuited some of these genomic pathways or paradigms. That's interesting.
Yeah, they were picking them up in other ways, but now now we're seeing what they are.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Alrighty, so I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look at my Healthy Genes report. Let's take a look.
And by the way, we've got 7 minutes left before break, and so I want to just let everyone know myhappygenes.com is a place you can go to check out Dr. Dunn and her work, and also if you desire to take the genetic test that she's got. Okay, here we go.
What do we got?
All right. So same principles apply with the sliders that we looked at with our first report. And we're looking at, many genes. So when this, for instance, the autoimmune imbalances, we're looking at all these genes. We tally up your specific homozygous, heterozygous, and correct codes for a genetic variant.
Yeah.
And then we calculate your risk. So anything that's approaching 50 is pretty significant. So we're very rarely do we see anything in the red, because most diseases are not 100% genetic. They are colored by genetic tendencies. So we're looking at, as we go through these, anything that approaches 50-ish, we're going to be paying a little more attention to. So like this one, bone density imbalances. And that's that VDR. If you look at, the genes over here, the vitamin D receptor is one of the key ones, but there are other ones as well associated with bone density issues. So this is another reason to take your supplementation. And we'll see it when we look at your supplement report, that is covered by
interesting
supplement recommendations. So. Okay, cardiovascular system fairly low. That's great. Cognitive decline bumping up a little bit toward the 50. COVID infection, not too bad. Did you get COVID?
Yeah, 4 times.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, but none of them were very severe. It was actually really mild.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, it looks like your risk is fairly low, or moderate, I should say, at 39. Detox, this is perfect. You have 21% on phase 1, 21% on phase 2. You want them to be equal, because when we detox, chemicals, toxins, pesticides come through phase 1 and then they have to go through phase 2. If there's a difference, if phase 2 is slower than phase 1, then you can create all kinds of free radical
backups. Yeah.
Reactive oxygen species, and it's bad news. But yours is perfect. You got A+.
Yay!
Golly, gee, Adam, and you didn't even have to try.
I get a gold sticker.
You didn't even have to study for that one. That's amazing.
Yay! You stayed up all night studying for this entire test. Right?
There you go. Endocrine looks good.
Looks good. Your female hormones are good.
I told you.
Adam, you have always been in touch with your female side. I am too.
I'm very centered.
Good.
Yeah.
Free radical pathology, and that's cancers on the low side. Yeah.
Yep.
Hearing loss.
Cool.
Immune system, not too bad. Yeah, bumping up a little bit in the skin area. Joint issues and arthritis, fairly low. But this is a bit of an issue here. So we're past 50.
Male hormone imbalances.
Imbalances. Tell us about that.
So these particular genetic variants here do certain things when it comes to male hormones, like the estrogen receptor. The ESR is an estrogen receptor. And if you have a genetic variant there, you have difficulty getting estrogens out of the body. And we have receptors on our prostate. You guys do. I don't.
Right.
But,
is there something we don't know about you, Dr. Dunn?
No.
Okay. All right.
No big reveal there today. No. The SRD5A2 is how we convert testosterone into DHT, and it's with the genetic variant here, it's a risk of prostate issues as well. And these two are more associated with prostate cancers, et cetera. So jot those down for a minute. When we look at your gene table, we'll take a quick look at those and see which ones.
Which ones would that be? The
ESR, SRD5A2, CASC8, HNF1B.
Okay.
Got it? Okay. Yep. Mast cell activation. This is sort of an immune response to allergens. For some people,
not too bad.
Be real problem. Yeah, you're good there. Migraine headache susceptibility, you're at 50. Do you get headaches? Do you get migraines?
Nope.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Yay.
Yeah,
they suck.
Points.
Bing, 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 bing.
Musculoskeletal system, not too bad. Neurological, not bad. Reproductive system, not too bad. Respiratory. Seasonal allergies are at 50%. What's your situation there?
Oh, they're horrible. But with quercetin this year,
that's what I was going to ask.
We actually came out with a quercetin conjugate. We have the curcumin conjugate that allows for curcumin to be absorbed really well. We have a quercetin conjugate, which is a beautiful eosinophil mitigator. And I've had 0 allergy issues this year.
Hey,
yay! That's fantastic. That's a good testament.
Isn't it great when your own products work on you?
I know.
Yes.
Huge bonus.
It is.
And I take Pathway too, so
Right.
it gives me the curcumin and the quercetin.
Yeah, well, we've heard people
Nice.
talk about seasonal allergies decreasing as
Oh,
they
it's
were
incredible.
using the conjugates.
Even the curcumin, right?
Oh, absolutely. Unequivocally,
for
yeah,
years.
long before we had quercetin.
Quercetin is really like the golden egg for those seasonal allergies, if you can get it in the body.
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic. Thyroid, not so bad. Urinary system,
Not so bad.
moderate. Vision, pretty good. Weight imbalances, low to moderate. So again, we're looking at that same gene table here, and I'm going to pull up. I think I showed you how you can pull up all the reds.
Yeah.
And we can take a look at the ones associated with one of your biggest risk factors was the male hormone.
Male hormone.
Male hormone.
Yeah.
Yeah, when are we
let's
going to
see where
make a
that
male
is.
product, Adam?
Yeah, you need one with
It's next up, Josh. Did you know that?
Is it really?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, after this, it will be.
After this, it moved to the
Yeah.
top of the
Yeah.
production schedule.
right. You're a little motivated
The
now.
test schedule.
It's going to be the top of the reproduction schedule.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh, that was ooh. Wow.
Super clever.
Uh-huh. But it's this guy, the SRD5A2, and if you bump that open, you can see it's associated with some prostate kind of issues.
So, what would I do with SRD5A2?
Diindole methane, DIM, or
Oh,
indole
nice.
3-carbinol. So there's your product. Which you can make. Any combo is good, especially liposomal. So go. Go create.
I'm out of here.
Okay.
Dim. I wonder, is it a polyphenol?
That's what I
no.
was about to
No?
ask.
No,
Okay.
it's from soy. It comes from soy. I don't believe it's a polyphenol. I could be
Interesting.
wrong. But here's your VDRs. So, and those are, some risk factors too. That combination of the two, you can see the different, there's the prostate cancer risk. So if I was going to pick one thing that I would like you to keep a close eye on, it would be that. Because you have
Okay.
two
And we're going to
big-
go to a quick break here. You're listening
Oh,
to
come on. This is
Dr.
exciting.
J. I know. We're coming back.
I'm taking notes here.
Dr. J. Dunn, myhappygenes.com. That's GENES.com. I'm Josh Bellew, and I'm here with Adam Payne from
Hey.
Ultra Botanica, and this is Ultra Life Today.
Our mission is to take nature's most beloved botanicals and enhance them with our liquid protein scaffold technology. This helps it reach your cells faster and better. With exponentially enhanced bioavailability, you'll feel better every day. Ultra Botanica, the feel-good curcumin.
Welcome back to Ultra Life Today. We're here with Dr. J. Dunn. We're having a fascinating deep dive into Adam Payne's genes, and that's Genes, not Jeans.
Because I'm wearing
So-
chinos today. So we
Yeah,
can
there
do
you
that.
go, right? So anyway, I'm Josh Bellew. Adam Payne is here with me, and Dr. J. Dunn is going through Adam's My Happy Genes report right now, and she's pulled us into a different area of the report. Go right ahead, Dr. Dunn.
Okay. So with this report, the biochemical pathway analysis, we're kind of crunching the data in another direction, kind of directly looking at.
I love this portion of your report.
It looks like
This
a
is
butterfly.
Yeah.
this is like the interactive portion, right?
Yeah.
One where you can
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
click. This is so cool.
Wow. So
This
what are we
isn't the
looking at
interactive
here?
version here, but
Right,
there,
right,
we
I get
do
it.
sell the interactive chart where you can click on any of these to sort of learn more about what's happening. And this is what makes our program different than anybody else's out there, is we're looking at genetic variants in biochemical pathways. Okay, so we're crunching the data in a different way, and we're looking at biochemical pathways as, as I said, the hub genes that can affect our physiology, our energy production pathways, our inflammation and nitric oxide pathways. That's where, your products are really going to shine. Brain
Yep.
chemistry and neurotransmitter pathways, immune system, detoxification, methylation, histamine, iron metabolism, and hormone pathways. And there they are sort of chunked into individual pathways. So this kind of informs the practitioner which area is going to be most important to look at. This all happens at the cellular level.
And
we're
all at
taking
the
out
same
the trash. Yeah,
Yep.
at all at the same time. We're making hormones and neurotransmitters. We're taking out the trash. We're building energy. We're breaking down histamine and making nitric oxide. All the things are happening there. So we want to look at which pathways are going to be most problematic for you. So we're looking at for the highest scores, basically. So brain chemistry is at 39. Detox, where you got an A+, really, really good. That's it's such an important area to have a good score in. So that's fantastic. Energy production is peaking up there a little bit at 40. Iron metabolism is not an issue. Histamine is 45. So this kind of corroborates your, statement that you do suffer from, or you did before you start taking the quercetin.
Yep.
From allergies. And here's this. And so one of the key genes, which, I think you mentioned early on, was the MTHFR.
Yeah.
And its role in producing methyl groups helps the body break down histamine. So getting methylation going actually will reduce the histamine levels because it requires a methyl group to break down histamine. So
And is it showing that I'm recessive on the methylation genes here?
You are homozygous. Yeah.
Yep.
So especially the MTHFR C677T, which is one of the main variants. I'll show it to you in a second. Oh no, I guess we did look at it. But hormones are good. Immune system, meh. And this is largely the vitamin D receptor.
Interesting.
Is going to be a big player there. Inflammation, pretty low, which is great.
Yep.
Methylation. Yeah. Methylation
in the middle. Yep.
Yeah. So your biggies are immune system and histamine and energy production. Those are your three top areas that as a practitioner, I would be focusing on those. So this one is only available through practitioners because it's really only going to, I shouldn't say that, but for most people, their eyes are going to glaze over when they look at this one.
Now, Dr. Dunn, real quick, because I want to make sure our listeners know where to go. If they were needing, and I know your test comes in two distinctive parts, one that is available to the individual, but then the second portion of that is interpreted by someone. And is it holisticmethylation.com? Can they find practitioners on that website?
Yes, we have a practitioner list there of practitioners all around the country. So it's a good place to go.
So I'll mention again, it's holistic, WHOLISTIC, holistic methylation, METHYLATION.com, holisticmethylation.com, so that you can get your test and then you can actually have a practitioner in your area of the world, area of the country, be able to help interpret that data and then make recommendations. And haven't you trained like 500 different individuals across the United States and world?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
So we have some, well-trained physicians.
That's
out there
amazing.
Yeah.
I love that you've done that. You're not leaving things to chance. People are just what do I do? And walk into my health food store and,
You're right. Somebody that says, well, your methylation genes are
what does that mean to the average person?
Right? Only an integrative physician or somebody that's trained can really interpret that and turn that into something actionable. So, bravo. Let's keep going.
Thank you. Yeah, and the other thing, we wanted to make sure that people were under the care of a licensed healthcare provider, especially when they're looking at supplements, because there are contraindications if somebody's on
your own
medication.
Story, classic example, right?
Yeah, right. So we want to make sure that there aren't any contraindications for let's say they're on a blood thinner and you give them vitamin K, not a good idea.
Ultra curve.
A physician will look at those things and make sure that they're safe for the patient to take. So that's why we restrict these last three to physicians. So here's the cool thing is you took a questionnaire. So you filled in your questionnaire, hopefully as honest as possible about what you're currently experiencing. So our program, it's very different than other genetic testing programs in that we look at your symptoms, the genes you inherited, and those pathways. So it triangulates all three of those. Yeah, to give you supplement recommendations.
So what did we learn here?
So we're looking at what in your questionnaire results, you're going to get a score from 0 to 100. Our goal is to get to 0. So anything over a certain trigger number, each one is kind of different, it's going to trigger supplement recommendations. So let's say, the first one is detoxification pathway. Now you don't have a lot of gene issues in that category, but you did have some symptoms. So the supplement program is going to reflect possible supplements to help with that. And then you can retake this questionnaire after 30 days and see if your score is coming down. So
interesting.
You're going in the right direction.
Perfect.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Perfect.
It's feedback.
I get to take a test.
Yeah. So
there will be a test at the end of class.
Yeah, totally. So you can see, your score in this questionnaire indicates you're currently experiencing some of the symptoms associated with imbalances in the detoxification pathways. So you do need some support there. But this one down here says, good news. The results of your questionnaire indicate your hormone production pathways are working well. You don't need supplements in that category. Even if you have genetic variants, you've probably done something to balance it out. So
that moves down the reproduction schedule, Adam. That particular product.
So brain chemistry, you're at 21. That's going to trigger some supplements, and your methylation's at 30. So this is the only moving part here is the questionnaire. Your symptoms are going to change, but your genes aren't going to change. So,
right.
That's cool that you can go back and see, are we heading down towards zero with our supplements?
Interesting.
And dietary recommendations. So methylation's pretty high at 30, histamine 22, immune system 26, inflammation 20, energy production 30. So there is some need for supplementation. So you're going to see some recommendations here. So these supplements, I tried to make them available. There's quite a list you got going on.
Oh my God.
You're going to see, though, when you get on these for a little while and you retake the questionnaire, this will come way down to a much smaller amount. So
Nice.
It's interesting.
Are these put in any hierarchy of importance on your?
No, they're just alphabetical. So the supplements that we recommend are all physician lines. They're only available through a licensed healthcare provider. And so that's kind of good because we know, you guys know, you can speak more about quality because, turmeric is like a hugely sketchy thing to buy over the counter.
Yes. Anytime something gets hot in the supplement industry, you have fly-by-nighters that just literally it's so pervasive in the supplement industry. So yes, the opportunity to have a consistent product made in an FDA registered facility that's audited and under strict GMP protocols.
Even if it's made in an audited environment, if the technology doesn't get it into the body, it's worthless.
Well, and also GMP people frequently use very inferior raw materials as well.
Yeah.
So it happens that way. So we've got about 3 minutes left here before we go ahead and sign off with Dr. Dunn this time. I do want to mention myhappygenes.com, myhappygenes.com. You can learn all about Dr. Dunn, this fascinating test that she spent a great deal of her life to figure out a system that makes it just more palatable and more easy for the individual to be able to create a roadmap to their health. And I got to ask you a question, Dr. Dunn. You mentioned something relative to this supplement list, and then you said when you come back in 30 days, it will change. Are you noticing oftentimes that as people initially start taking supplements for a particular challenge related to what their genetic profile gave, do they oftentimes then adjust those amounts and even adjust supplementation?
Yes.
That's fascinating because that's kind of not what a lot of people would tell you if you walk into a health food store. You'll be taking this the rest of your life, and here's how much you need to take.
Well, a lot of these should actually result in some tangible change in either energy or emotional stability or feelings of well-being.
Sleep, all kinds of things.
So, Doc, looking at all the things that came out of it here, I'm looking at DIM maybe, and I need something that deals with this SRD5A2.
And DIM being diindolylmethane for our listeners.
What is
diindolylmethane?
Diindolylmethane. I don't know. You know what?
It's the indols that we're after.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, go back to your SRD question, Adam.
So, where would you recommend I focus first on all this list of stuff?
Well, I think we need to have a conversation, you and I, and decide, you've got some products that you like, that obviously you're in the product building business.
Sure.
So we can translate some of what I've recommended into what you have. So let's chat, offline.
Yeah, and just with less than a minute left, what would you like to leave our audience with, Dr. Dunn? Because again, Adam and I, you're one of our favorite interviews. We just kind of feel like we've known each other forever, and we love what you're doing, and we love the fact that you're also evangelizing by training other practitioners within this world that you've created. It's pretty cool.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys get it, which is so cool. You're smart enough to see what's happening on the backside and put it all together. And I appreciate your inviting me on again. It's fun to.
We'll have to do it again for sure.
Well, I think our listeners are learning a lot, and hopefully some of them are going to get over their fear of being tested, so that they can get more wisdom about what's going on with them. because underneath the hood is actually a lot of information that's actionable.
Right. And so,
Well, that's the thing. And here's the other really important piece of it. It's the compassion.
yep.
Understanding why you are the way you are. And often there's a broad brushstroke of genetic kind of influence here. It's not written in stone, but it definitely colors your personality and, the things that you struggle with. And so there are ways to balance your biochemistry that can really smooth those out. And that was, I think you guys got it through my story, but I see
Absolutely.
this over and over again with people where it just changes their life because it's, they're no longer irritable or anxious or have focus issues or
Right. And this speaks into your experience. You went from dark depression, which you were blaming on parents and environmental factors, to I just have some vitamin D receptor issues.
Okay. We are going to wrap it up here. You've been listening to Dr. J. Dunn. Go to myhappygenes.com, Genes spelled Genes. And thank you so much for sharing this broadcast with your friends. If you love what we're doing, you can go to YouTube or Facebook, type in ULTRACUR UltraCur. You can find our archived episodes there, and you can actually go back and listen to Dr. Dunn's story if you didn't catch it before. You're listening to Ultra Life today. We want you to join us next time. I'm Josh Bellew.
I'm Adam Payne, and this has been Ultra Life Today. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Dunn.
Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Take care.